Hello and welcome from Birmingham. Hello and welcome from MACH. This is the MTDCNC podcast and we're here on Hall 19, stand 549 if you want to come and see us. A few introductions before we start. I'm Joe Reynolds and I'm the presenter of today's MTDCNC podcast. And if we start at the far end and work our way this way, Rowan.
Hello, my name's Rowan Robinson. I'm a presenter here at MTDCNC. We've had quite a big week so far, haven't we? It's only been 3 days.
Tom from MTD, and yeah, it's been great. We've seen so many different aspects of manufacturing and some of the innovations that are coming, which we're really excited to see.
And last but definitely not least, Lydia.
Hi, I'm Lydia from FANUC. I work in the marketing department. It's my first time at MACH, and yeah, I'm really impressed with the range of demonstrations that are here this week.
Cool, that's a good place to start if it's your first MACH. What do you think of it?
It's massive. Much bigger than I expected. Like I said, the range of products that people are showing is really great. Innovation-wise, I think there's some really good futuristic things here that no one's ever seen before.
Sean, if we bring it back to yourself and FANUC, what are you showcasing?
I'd say one of our highlights on our stand is the robo-drill with the nick and turning table, which allows the part that's actually being manufactured to turn inside the machine itself, which fully automates the process for those companies that actually want to invest in that.
Sure. Rowan, you've seen this before,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
a really cool demo. I've talked to Andy Harvey about it, and I know you're going to be talking to Andy Harvey about it tomorrow.
I'm slightly excited.
Just watch Rowan's video.
A lot in store. Just watch my video. I'm sure Tom's going to be 10 times better. 10 times better and 10 times louder.
Wow. Don't know how you do it.
But no, I bet you're so excited to be talking to Andy tomorrow about it.
It'll be the first time I've interviewed Andy, and I am really looking forward to
He's a really good person to interview. He knows a lot about it. If there's anything to know about the robo-drill, he knows it.
Yeah.
But also, somebody else I'm going to be interviewing for the first time tomorrow, which I'm slightly nervous about, Mr. Oliver Selby.
Oh, yes. Oliver, our head of sales.
No, for sure. It's what I like about the robo-drill. It's such a small footprint, but so highly productive on a minuscule footprint, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think we've got 21 tools on the machine on the stand. So it's fully customizable. The range from what it can do is endless, really. So yeah, really good one to see. We're on Hall 6, stand 350. If you wanted to come along.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Lydia, it's fantastic. Are you going to be showing the turning on the robo-drill on the actual stand itself?
Yes.
And the applications for that, they are quite niche, quite bespoke, but they work really well with kind of cast components where you need to get a nice face and a nice bore, and the rest of the stuff you'll be doing is mostly 5-axis milling. So there's going to be some, if you're a Mac and you've got those kinds of components, you should definitely come down and see it in person.
Well, what are some of the other benefits of it? Come on, Rowan, think back to your
Benefits
machining
of
days.
facing, boring, good concentricity.
Exactly.
Don't have to
Tolerance.
change setups.
You think if you put that into a lathe, then into a mill, you've got to clock it up. Just do it all in one.
Yeah, absolutely. A normal mill turn machine is normally going to be probably about twice the size and twice the price, if I can say price.
Also,
and then
energy efficient. It's on the front of everyone's minds right now. Being more productive, but also
really good
saving
point.
energy.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
FANUC Robo-Drill is great for being green,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
even though it's yellow.
I was going to say it's green, but it's most definitely yellow.
Bright yellow, yeah.
Although some of your products are green.
Yeah.
How are the cobots going?
Really well. We've had a lot of interest in them, purely because they are flexible as well. So they can work alongside humans, as you know, and then they can also be put into kind of like laser flooring, so they can work similarly to industrial robots as well, with that vision system on it.
I do really love that laser flooring.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. Rowan will probably know. Rowan knows everything. But
I'm keeping quiet.
obviously it's great that you can have the robot running, but then have the health and safety side of it, where if
Exactly.
you break that laser, the robot stops straight away.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's great if you need to get in quickly and you forgot to press the off button or whatever, you can walk in.
Yeah.
Come on, Rowan, you've got to know what the actual name for that is.
I guess it's like a laser floor scanner, maybe. I don't really know.
I think
what is
you don't sound
fascinating about
very
these things
confident with that, Rowan.
Oh, sorry, you don't know,
It's
it's
Rowan.
a laser floor scanner. I'll have you know.
We found something Rowan doesn't know about. I am
No, I don't.
absolutely shocked at that.
Me too.
You
me
know everything,
too.
mate.
No, I mean, the safety is such a big consideration when you're putting in an automation solution.
Yeah.
And you normally get get a full robot cell CE marked, UKCA marked. But what if your component you're trying to automate changes, and suddenly you have to get someone in to come and do assessment again? With a laser scanner, in some cases, you won't have to get that UKCA marking done again. So it's really important.
Sure. Yeah. Fanuc being Fanuc, you've got so many products. What else is capturing attention? Obviously, your drives, your controls, your robotics, your EDM, your robo drill.
Yeah, the EDM machine, our RoboCut, has got a lot of. What's the word I'm looking for?
Attention.
There we go. Attention this week. It's actually running a little demo, and we've actually got parts that we're giving away, which slot perfectly. So it really shows like the precision that the machine can offer.
Wait a minute, I visited you earlier. Where's mine?
Oh God, you don't deserve one.
My 11-year-old son will want one of those on Friday.
Yeah.
Bit of a warning.
Yeah. Come along. Bring him along.
Sweet. Okay, just finally, just to wrap up. What have you? I know you said you've enjoyed it, but what's the rest of the week looking like for you? You're here all week. Is it going to be busy?
Yeah, I'm here all week. I haven't had a chance to go around everything, so I'm slowly working my way around to see. But yeah, I'm excited to give another little lap of the whole building. Have a little look round.
Cool. Well, enjoy the rest of the week. Thanks for coming on the podcast, and I'm going to come and nick one of those components.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're all going to come and get one.
We're going to see you down there in 5 minutes.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you.
Nice.
Now, I don't think this gentleman needs any introduction, Joe.
Oh, who's this guy? Who's coming in?
This guy doesn't
He's
need
taking
no
his time,
introduction.
so he
Look
needs
at
some
him.
entrance music, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
so we're waiting for our
Hello,
next
Marcel, how
guest.
you doing,
If you want to come and see us, Hall 19, stand
Hello, gents.
4549. Marcel, nice to see you.
Very nice to see you.
You well?
Yes, very well.
Cool. Just
Tired?
before we start, for the people living under a rock, can you explain who you are?
Yes, Marcel Machado, but I don't have a surname.
Marcel Shunk.
Yes, that's me. Love to. I am the managing director of Shunk here in UK. We do work holding and automation in a nutshell. A little bit more than that, but that will do for now.
Sure. We should have had you on Melody, shouldn't we? We could have had a discussion about automation.
Yes,
We've already had one though, haven't we, Marcel?
we did indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the show? How's it going for you?
It's been good. Busy, quality, very high level inquiries. Yeah, can't complain. We had lots of stuff. Aviation seemed to be a very popular thing for us. We did bring a big aviation looking thing, and that did the trick. People did come and ask about it.
Is that the brand name? Big aviation thing?
It is.
I know
yes.
what you're talking about, actually.
Also known as Vero S Aviation.
Well done. just on that point, I've seen it. It is stunning. So maybe that's where we start. Tell us about that.
So the Vero S Aviation is unique. It's really truly unique. There's nothing like it in the world. It's a 0 point, which I'm not going to explain that one. People do know that one. It's 0 points with compliance. So basically, you have a very large component. And if you are in the aviation business, you know that when you're machining those very large slabs of alley, they tend to bend like bananas. And then you keep flipping them. So what we did do is create a 0 point that sits under your component, locks in position. You cut. When the tensions will build and you release our system, things will stay in place, but relax to their optimal position, and then lock again, and you cut, and then don't flip the part anymore. You will cut cycle times. AMRC will give you better answers than I will, but 60 to 80% of the cycle time will come down.
Wow. And I know we're coming to see you on Friday. We're doing your research for you here, Owen, aren't we? You're coming to see Marcel on Friday.
Yeah,
absolutely.
One nice thing to say about it, actually, this is partially British development. So we kind of wrap the product at the MRC, and the way you do it is by not flipping things anymore. So where before you would cut, unlock everything, flip your component, lock again, cut again,
To try
release
and
the
get that
component, flip,
symmetrical-
and keep doing that.
symmetrical, yeah.
Now with a flick of a switch, which actually, you don't flick a switch. Ideally, you integrate it into the CNC. The CNC will cut, send a signal for release, an M code, boom, release, lock, go and stop.
It's about taking the stresses out of the material when you're roughing, semi-finishing and finishing.
Exactly. So the stresses will naturally build in. The part will bend like a banana, and then you lock that, and then you cut that off, and then you do that again and again. And there's a bit of modeling for your part, but basically just incorporate it into the process and you're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's quite a complex process when you're trying to take parts off, flip them over. And this, I guess, previously has been taking a long time to automate because this has been quite a. It's been still worth doing by hand.
I've been asked like, "Oh, this is genius. Why didn't anybody do that before?" Oh, it's really hard.
Yeah. This is you're getting down to like really crazy
it's
automation.
It's really hard,
now.
right? And the funny thing, this doesn't come from our automation. That wouldn't even be seen as automation. But obviously, yes, it's automation. You're automating some of the process by giving new tech to it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's because all the low-hanging fruit in automation might have been picked now. We're getting there even more complicated,
you would be surprised,
more
interesting.
interesting.
There's still a lot to do, but yeah.
Well, not to plug a video we've done, but we've actually done, for anyone who wants to know more about this, we've actually done a full video on that solution.
Yeah.
Which somehow you managed to do one, and it was that easy. You did it one-handed using the iPad and had a microphone at the same time.
True, and
absolute professional.
Well, yeah, some people beg to disagree, but yeah, thank you. But yeah, it is an easy thing to do. That's the thing. If you do a lot of work, you make it easy for the user.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also. I was just going to say, it's not just really bespoke automation. Obviously, Shunk is so well known for all that other low-hanging fruit automation that we should really be focusing on still in the UK, though.
Well, actually, there's one more demonstration you've got on the stand that if people haven't seen it, really need to go and see. And before we go into it, I'm going to ask Rowan a question as Mr. Technical over here.
Oh no, please don't. Please.
How much would it cost you to retrofit? Let's just call it a 3-axis machine. How much would it cost you to retrofit a 3-axis machine with an air table?
An air table, meaning a pneumatic
air to the table.
Air to the
having
table.
air going through your table.
I've got no idea. So fully
retrofit
integrated,
that. Yeah, completely.
coded up, so you don't flick a button. I don't know, maybe £2,000.
I'd be thinking more, a lot higher.
£10,000.
But Shunk have a solution for that now as well, which is a cheaper alternative, but works just as well.
That's it, yeah. We have a little valve that you can just use the robot to operate anything pneumatic on top of your machine, so you don't have to have the air through the table retrofitted into the machine. Mm-hmm. And if you were to have a mil-turn machine, then it will be about £50,000 run.
50,000. Okay, well, I was a little bit off there.
Yes.
It's good thing I'm not handling the spreadsheets
I'll
in
buy
these
yours,
businesses,
Rowan.
isn't it?
If you want to buy a machine, go and buy one off Rowan quickly.
Well, you did raise an interesting point, like the low-hanging fruit. We are the least automated country in the G8. We really
Is that in
frown
terms of
upon
robot
automation.
density, or how does that?
Robot per employee, basically.
Yeah.
Is it
In
10,
fact,
it's 10,000 or something crazy, isn't it?
yeah. So, funny enough, robot per employee. We're not talking about absolute numbers. China clearly is a massive country. If you were to talk absolutes, they're bigger than everything. But robot per employee, China is doing better than we are. They're the cheap labor people in theory, right? And they're automating more than we are pro rata. It's scary. And if we are to be truly competitive, automation is part of it. And it's not about replacing people. This is a very big misconception. It's about pushing people to do clever things and taking the robot to do the silly tasks. Like, who wants to debug anything? Anybody who ever debug anything, like, is the highest rotation part of a company? Who wants to be with a grinder all day long? Like, give a robot to do that. Who wants to load the machine?
It's a good point though on obviously the bench work. People don't want to do the bench work, the deburring, but it's also obviously at the moment we have a skills gap. You've got trying to find a fully skilled engineer to come in who can just run the part off. Again, is something that it doesn't matter who you speak to, everybody's got the same problem. So if companies want to be more productive and make more money, then they've got to automate.
I couldn't agree more. And Shunk's a pretty good place to start, I would
It
have
is,
said.
yeah, I will hope so. And it's deeper than that. Like, it's survival. It's not even about the problem anymore. It's nearly about survival. The big boys, in terms of not companies, countries, are moving towards automation.
Yeah, and this is probably not a technical problem. It's probably to do with maybe the fact that our engineering companies and manufacturing houses have been going for a long time. So they set their protocols and standards in the 50s, 60s, 70s. China has been building its factories since, I guess, the 70s, 80s.
This is how we've always done it, though, Rowan.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
no.
what's wrong with that?
That is the worst phrase in manufacturing, that is. This
Sure.
is how we've always done it.
I think Marcel's bringing some newfangled stuff to us right now, you know.
Obviously, we talked extensively about automation, but Shunk, you're not just about automation. Have you got any other highlights from the show?
No, traditionally we are work coding actually, initially with JAWS. And speaking of JAWS, we had massive inquiries and very great interest in the fastest changing jaw in the world. So we have I can't explain this especially on audio, but you can just click and pull and change a jaw in 1
Use
second.
your hands on the camera.
Like that, right? I need a prop. But we had the fastest changing jaw system in the world now called Rapido, which can be retrofitted into virtually any chuck, not only ours.
Incidentally, everything that Marcel's saying here, you're going to repeat 12:30 on Friday on MTD, is that correct?
Apparently I will, yes. I will
Yeah,
be
so
with you.
you might get a more accurate demonstration on Friday, so feel free to tune back in. But Mac, been a good week?
Yes, very good. Yes, very good. And you guys did help us, actually. Yeah.
Sorry?
You're making made a lot better by you guys, you know.
Oh, don't.
Having a beer here every now and again.
Thank you,
help.
Marcel.
You're trying to buy yourself another 2 minutes. Keep going, keep going.
I'll take that. I got to interview you, so I'll take that.
Yeah, no, joking aside, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Always good to catch up.
Pleasure.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
James.
Marcel.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice. No, now I'm clapping.
So yeah, for those of you coming to the show, do come and see the Shunk stand. And say we touch on automation, we touch on work holding.
Unfortunately, I've got to say we've been so busy.
Yeah, we've talked on various things.
Do
0
you know what?
point.
I haven't been able to see most of it.
Sorry. I was going to say you're not Steve. Hello, Colin. Take a seat.
Hello, Colin.
Colin.
Well, at least it's a better Colin than we have. Just
Welcome
saying.
to the MTDCNC podcast. We are live.
Good afternoon.
Can you just introduce yourself and then we'll talk a little bit about Fuchs, if that's okay?
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm Colin Richardson. I'm the regional sales manager for Fuchs Lubricants in the UK. Fuchs Lubricants, we're a largest independent manufacturer of metalworking fluids and lubricants in the UK. We have associations with companies like DMG Moy, for example, where we have approved grades globally using our global platform of coolant.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of visiting your team. Was it today or yesterday? Time flies, isn't it? Yesterday. And you've got this wonderful new product. Perhaps you can tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, we're here introducing our EcoCool global range of products. So that's a range of soluble coolants. So that's anything from machining titanium through to brass, through to heavy Inconols, etc. A lot with aerospace approvals.
Yeah. And I always, it's almost like a necessary evil. No, it's not. That's the perception, though, isn't it? Engineers is like it's that thing that often gets forgotten, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think with lubricants and metalworking fluids per se, there's always that conception that it's a cheap pence per litre product. It's cheap, it's milky, it's whatever. But we as a business, it's not just the coolants that we supply, but also the whole service that's providing our technicians and engineers that will go out and actually monitor and control coolants.
Sure. We mentioned it on your stand, actually. I'm from a tooling background, and the end user would bash you over the head with a book trying to get 5% tool life increase. And I'd just say, change your coolant. It's because quite often they're looking at the wrong thing, aren't they?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we can we can look at and we do monitor tooling. I mean, we've done plenty of exercise recently, certainly with one major engine manufacturer in the UK, where we've actually shown that we can reduce tooling by as much as 20%.
That's incredible. The most important question, what's this stuff called? Is it suds? Is it coolant? Is it metalworking fluids? It's got so many names, isn't it? When I was on my apprenticeship, everyone called it suds.
Yeah.
And everyone called it coolant.
I think you've got suds if it's foaming up, though. It's probably not going right.
If it's been called suds, something's gone wrong.
Something's definitely
Coolant
going.
until it,
Get that
until
foamy
it's
stuff on part.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's one of the benefits of our products. They are anti-foam or they don't foam as much. And we've done lots of benchmark testing with that. But what do we call it? It's coolant, to be fair. It's metalworking fluid, it's coolant.
I think there's other benefits as well that we need to talk about. Obviously, tool life's always a big one. But there's other benefits to coolant that people often forget, and it's surface finish and even damage to your machine. Because some coolants can run that high, they can peel the paint right off your machine.
They can do. I think that's the more older, traditional milky type products, and certainly with the newer technologies that we have, you can certainly benefit from extending the sump life. You can certainly, the cleanliness of the machine, certainly the coolants that we have now, when you look at the surface finish, for example, which obviously goes in hand with the tooling savings that you'll make.
And this is probably quite an open question, but how do you select a coolant when you're trying to do a cutting trial like this? How do you select a coolant to try and improve tool life?
It all depends on what material you're cutting.
So you're talking like titanium? Would you do something different for titanium and aluminium or steel, or what kind of grades would you group into one?
Yeah, well, you're right. Yeah, you can grade. There are coolants that will do multi-metal, but however, if you're being more specific, certainly down the titanium route, then you're much better off going for something like our eco-cool Global 1000 range, which are specifically designed for those sort of operations, and they have all the Airbus approvals as well. So
there's a lot more to it than people think, isn't there, to be honest? Coolant, metalworking fluids, a lot more to it, a lot of chemistry, a lot of science that goes into it, a lot of R&D. These things aren't just chucked in the barrel and shipped. There's a lot of work that goes on.
I'm glad you've talked about the technicality of coolant, because I've visited a few people recently who have had staining on their parts, and they think it's come from the end mill finish, when actually it's the coolant with the aluminium reacting. So how can somebody who's having problems, let's say with staining, deal with that, and how would you deal with that?
We'd need to look at the full process, and I think that's the whole the conversations that we need to have with our customers. Certainly staining issues. Often you'll find it's not actually the coolant that's causing the problem, it might be something else in the process, for example the water. So when you look at a soluble coolant, when you're mixing a soluble coolant with water, it can be up to 95% water within that coolant. So again, if you're not controlling the quality of the water, that sometimes will be the problem.
You've got hard water and
soft water,
different
water,
areas.
Calciums.
And it's one of them things where people go, oh, it's the coolant, but it's not.
No, it's not. And 9 times out of 10, as I say, it's down to the way the coolants are managed. And again, that's part of the service that we offer with our products. We offer the full managed service through Fuchs service.
But that's a good what's the word, segue. It's metalworking fluids, it's important, the technology is important, but there's a lot more that goes into it now. You need to monitor your coolant, you need the HSE compliance, you need digitization, and I know you've got a product for that as well.
Yes, indeed. We have what we call Fuchs Connect, so that's the digitalization of the concept. So we will monitor, when we monitor coolants, we can in real time check and all the results, so that's from pH, concentration, dip sliding, temperature, etc. So we can monitor all that within our Fluids Connect system, and that's real-time live information that any MD can quickly look on his smartphone or tablet and pick up that information.
That must be really helpful though, because it's obviously, I know we keep coming back to cutting tools, but it's just what we know about. If you've gone from using 1 cutting tool a week to all of a sudden running 3, instead of that process carrying on, with that, I'm guessing the MD can check and go, oh, well, wait a minute, the coolant's running really weak, maybe that's why. So that must help, as well as helping with coolant, that must help in other areas on the machine as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can extend the sump life by managing the coolant correctly, by monitoring it correctly, then you're going to, you're going to have a reduced consumption. You're going to have
less disposal costs,
better
for the environment,
better operator acceptance. So you're getting all the benefits of using the service and the products.
And how many different options are there from Fuchs? So obviously we've heard of like mineral-based coolants, which I guess are like petrochemical. And then, can you get like vegetable oil based? There are kind of some more greener oil based.
Yes, there are plenty of options. A lot of them are synthetic based products these days, but yes, there are still the older, oilier type products.
So what do you mean by older oil? So is that mineral? Is that petrochemical? How does it work?
Traditionally, it would be mineral oil, but technologies change within the metalworking fluid market through legislation, through COSH, through the HSE guidance. You've had to change some of the things that we can put into products.
And what is synthetic oil? How does it get produced?
A lot of it can come from vegetable-based oils, or it can come from sunflowers.
It looked at me in disbelief when I said vegetables. You were
I
like,
said
what?
Well, there you are.
Tom doesn't get near
Here first, vegetables.
Doesn't do greens.
Yeah.
No broccoli.
No, thank you for joining us. Just before we let you escape,
Go on.
how can people find you, here at the show, and obviously for people at home that can't unfortunately make it to the show, how can they reach out to Fuchs?
Well, how can they reach out to Fuchs? Well, firstly, you can always come and visit us on our stand at MACH, or you can obviously log on to our website, which is www.fuchs.com. I mean, it's that simple. There's plenty of information there about our business, what we do, where we are. But we're always happy to see you. We within the UK, we actually manufacture in Stoke-on-Trent, in Hanley. We have the largest plant in the UK for making products. Had some £26 million investment within the last 2 years, so we're a very sustainable business. Moving forward, please come and see us.
Good man. Thanks for coming on.
No, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
gentlemen.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
There we go. Who knew there's so much about metalworking fluids? Joking
there's a
aside,
lot going on.
Joking aside, there's a lot more to it.
So many
that goes
benefits to it
unseen.
people don't
Welcome.
think about.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Nice
hello.
to meet you. How are we?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen.
Yeah. You happy with the show?
Yeah, we're happy indeed. We're
Good
happy
stuff.
indeed.
Obviously, we're live. If you can just introduce yourself to the camera and then tell us a little bit about Nikon, please.
Yeah, okay. I'm Steve Renders, Managing Director at Nikon Metrology, responsible for the X-ray business unit, meaning all the sales, service, and the technical work we do in Europe. Not producing the systems, but getting it to the customers and making sure that customers can work well with it. So that's my job.
Obviously,
kind of range-
Nikon, massive company, huge global footprint, but maybe for the people that are unfamiliar, if you can tell us a little bit about the company?
Yeah, indeed. Nikon is most known for the cameras. That's part of the company, but also there is a big part which is about industry, solutions for industry. And what we do in this part, so there's a printing part and there is a quality control part. So we deliver X-ray and CT systems for this quality control. And for instance, the checking of 3D printed objects, that's something we do, checking all batteries in production, EV batteries. So all this quality control in production based on X-ray and CT systems.
Yeah, and I've seen one of the X-ray scanners you had at I think at an expo in Stuttgart. It was
at Control
Control Expo. Yeah, and you've got this huge 3D X-ray scanner. It's a fascinating piece of kit.
Yeah, indeed. There are small systems, but of course, if the parts are scaling, people nowadays are printing much bigger parts, and also our systems have to scale along.
Yeah.
So that is that's the biggest system that we deliver as one piece. So delivering at once to the customer, and so
It almost comes in one shipping container, right?
It's in one shipping container. We have bigger systems, but then it needs to be
break
set
it up
at
and screw
the
it
customer,
together.
so it's much more work.
So it's like an IKEA flat pack X-ray machine rather than a shipping container.
Don't do it yourself. Don't do it yourself.
Okay, no, get a qualified person to screw it together.
I think, Rowan, you're banned from building them.
I can't build a cupboard, let alone an X-ray scanner.
It's just on that point. It's a really good point. Additive manufacturing, it's going to continue to grow. Excuse the puns. We're going to see more and more of it, but because it's printed, it's not a solid bar or a solid billet. The integrity of the material, it does need checking, doesn't it?
It does need checking, and what's a little bit different if you look at casted parts. If the casted parts are getting bigger, typically the errors they scale along, so you don't mind too much anymore about small errors because the parts are getting bigger. If 3D printed parts is different, the parts are getting bigger, but the errors are still the same, and the importance of very small errors is still the same. So in fact, also if you're scanning those huge parts, you still need the CT scanner with that fine resolution like you have and that's making it complicated. And something that Nikon has unique in this industry is scanning at very high energy, but still with a fine spot size, which gives a very sharp resolution on the detector. So meaning that even for big parts, we can still see those tiny errors. And that's what you need for this additive manufacturing industry.
Not everybody watching this podcast is going to need an X-ray machine. So what other products do you offer?
Okay, we have different products, but even in the X-ray inspection, what we do as well is offering inspection services ourselves. So meaning that in our office where we have an entire range of systems, normally we use those systems to show the capabilities and to test capabilities. At the same time, we use it for customers not having their own machine or having a different size of machine. They come to us and our team is scanning it for them. Sometimes it's only one part, but sometimes a massive amount of parts where they don't have the capacity and that we do all the scanning for them. So that's a solution as well if people are not only have a problem for a while or they don't have the budget for buying a system or not having the need for having this on long term.
It makes a lot of sense. You use you as the subcontractor, and when there's a bit of scale, they would buy one, presumably.
It gives us access to knowing more about the customers, and it's when they need the system, it's proven that it works. So that also takes away a little bit of the risk for the customer.
Yeah, good idea.
Now, obviously, with scanning 3D printed parts, have you seen a rise in 3D printing? Is it becoming a lot more popular? So you need a lot more scan to make sure it's right.
Yes, indeed, and it's of course already for years. It's not at university level anymore, but it's really used. It's used in components that have to fly, so really where it might get dangerous if they're not well inspected. And there we see this is rising pretty fast, this entire industry.
And how does that work in production? If you've got 3D printed parts coming off at a rate, then I guess you need to inspect them either 1 in 10 or even each one. And would you be able to X-ray scan each component?
Yeah, sometimes even each one. But of course, the rate is not like plastic injected parts that are flying out of the machine in multiple seconds.
So the X-ray scan matches the production speed of an 3D printer.
Yeah, and there as well, we're speeding up over the last 2 years, really making systems that are delivering faster results. And lately, we added AI reconstruction software, which means that normally, if you have X-ray images, and you want to make a 3D volume out of it, you have a lot of images, you combine them together, and then you create your 3D image in which you do the quality control. By adding a trained model to this, we can scan based on less X-ray images, so scanning much faster.
So
and then
bigger slices.
Bigger slices, in fact, less slices, and then you go much faster, and in the end you can scan 10 till 50 times faster than what we did before. Wow. So this is then based on this AI trained model, which is much smarter about how something needs to be reconstructed. And so that's speeding up, and then you can keep pace with more of those production speeds.
That's fascinating. What kind of components are these parts that are being 3D printed? Did they used to be individual metallic parts that were machined and then inspected individually and assembled, and they're now a single component to reduce kind of like bomb sizes?
No. Often it's still single components that are later on used that are a bit too complex or that need to have inner volumes that you can't produce with milling or with other machining technologies. So it's often still single components, but already a bit bigger.
Yeah, fascinating. And Nikon also have, I don't know if you can talk too much about it, but we had Roy on yesterday from Nikon, who handles kind of the laser scanning product as well. And that there's a huge amount of non-contact inspection that Nikon offer as well.
Yeah, indeed, that's also our goal. So using the Nikon, still looking back at the roots of Nikon based on microscopes, cameras, a lot of the light, anything with light, where X-ray you could say adds a bit of the limit. It's not really light anymore, but it's the same concept that you have a non-contact way of scanning your components.
I used to work at a company called Nikken, Nikken. Everyone used to come up to me and said, "Oh, you make lenses. Tell me about this." And I had absolutely no idea what to say to them, except direct you to your stand.
That's gross.
Is that the same now?
No, I've got a different T-shirt on now.
Yeah, no, it's been fascinating having you on your podcast. For people, how do they find out more about Nikon? Obviously, you're going to have a website. How should they reach out? How should they find more information?
Yeah, I think the Nikon website and the industry part, because as we're a big company, it's sometimes a bit difficult to find us. And just a CT inspection, Nikon, they will find us, Nikon Industry. he'll find us. We have in the UK have an office with a lot of systems and also a lot of production of the sources in Tring, in the north of London, let's say. So for a lot of the customers over there, we're well known, and we're known inspection services partner.
Sure. And have you enjoyed the show? Have you been to MACH before?
It was the first time. Of course, the team has been here quite often, but for me it was the first time, and it's interesting to see the combination of all the production machines and also the quality inspection like us. So it's a very complete show. That's nice.
Good stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, and have a safe journey home.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fascinating. X-ray scanners. I love it.
There's a lot to learn, isn't there? Do you know, I've been doing this job 15 years, well, 30 years. I don't look like it, I know, but I've been doing this 30 years, and you're still learning every day.
Well, I told you after that.
You know,
Rowan.
I've seen those machines before, the X-ray machines. They're just incredible, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I told you before we started, I didn't know anything about Nikon, and I know
before
you
we started
did.
just now, or
Yeah, before we spoke to the gentleman, and I know you did, and I really lent on your expertise there. And
absolutely zero expertise there.
Some amazing equipment.
There are, yeah. You got to go talk. There's some fantastic employees at Nikon I've talked to. X-ray PhD scientists, people.
Yeah.
I made notes about what they were saying. I can't remember any of it. I was literally trying to ask him a really smart question, but nothing came out.
There we are. Well, Rowan, Tom, and all our guests, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you tomorrow. If you're coming to the show, I always have to write this down. Hall 19, stand 549. Please come and see us. Have a beverage, have something to eat, and hopefully talk about some marketing and just have a catch up. Thank you so much.